And bam, boom, let's get our fingers crossed. There's been a lot of bandwidth phone, the waves in the air, a little kooky today, but good morning, everyone. We're on a little bit earlier, but you know what? That's okay. We have flexible schedules. This is Thursday. What does that mean? It's Trending Thursday. Good morning, everyone. This is Carol Sue, AKA Naughty Boss Lady Kiana, live from Vero Beach with two. Did you hear me? Two sisters. I think we're a little frozen. Are we frozen?
Yeah, there's a lot of technical issues. Normally we have really pretty good sound. Even on a bad day, we have good sound. And we don't have fancy equipment. We will at some point. But anyways, my name is Janice, AKA Wellness Diva, with an alfalfa kind of hairdo today. And for those of you who do not know alfalfa, look it up.
Can you hear me all right, or is it going in and out?
It's going a little bit in and out, but we can hear.
Okay.
So we're going to dive right on into Trending Thursday. So what is going, I put in part of the caption, what do the bandwidths have to do with it? Now, we always kind of joke about this because there's always been some kind of a technical glitch, at least once a week, I want to say, if not maybe more. And there's always been some kind of an internet issue with my house in general, and I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyways, when we, when we rely on the internet, when we rely on our social media platforms to conduct, because we're entrepreneurs and, everybody's, I would say 99.9% of entrepreneurs do work from home and do rely on social media. They rely on their internet services. So how does that affect our daily lives? Because, I'm 58 years old and I look back to when the internet first came out and how much we evolved since then and how much we rely on it. So what are your thoughts about that?
Well, when you said that, I was cracking up because I was imagining AOL. Remember the dial-up? And you'd hear the crinkle and it would just spin and would take literally forever, at least it felt like it. So we have evolved. However, I think with what's been going on most of 2020 into obviously now 2021, a lot of people are working out of their home. A lot of companies are allowing them to remotely work. Then you add in entrepreneurs, that's what they do. They use, their office is their home. They have a separate area that they do their lives or their videos or, reaching out to their customers and clients. You have a over inundated amount of people now using Zoom for personal, as well as for school, as well as for business and business meetings. So I think that has some play in it. I think the whole 5G thing's got something to do with it. I think freedom of speech has something to do with it because I remember, actually I was talking to a friend earlier this week, and they were obviously giving out warnings of, make sure, do this, turn off this on your cell phone, blah, 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 unplug your Alexa. And the common joke was, even with our family messenger, that, people listen. Who are those people? We don't know. Communication being spied on from an audio piece is very real. And when I use the word spy, I use that loosely because people just listen. I'm not saying that necessarily they are, but what they're doing, the common person would say, hey, you're spying, you're infringing on my freedom of my life or whatever. So yes, there are, if people are not aware, your devices can hear what's going on. I'm not saying that in a cray-cray kind of way. Your Alexa, they know by your search engines, they know. And I think a perfect example of that is what my friend and I were talking about. She said, you know, when Alexa first came out, you know, my husband said, absolutely not. We're not having that little spy in the house. And so when I was messaging her about, you know, hey, don't forget, make sure you do this with your devices. She said, oh, we still don't own one. I said, well, good for you. I said, we own one. We received one as a gift. But ironically, when we were back in Massachusetts, we never plugged it in because tech challenge over here, trying to figure out with the Wi-Fi and all that. I didn't have the patience for it. When we came here, it did automatically work, but we love our couches because it has all the USB ports in it. Well, they're always consumed with other things. So Alexa's there, but not plugged in. So I find it ironic that, you know, people are now starting to notice more and more, and we joke and say the bandwidths are in, they're out, but are they in and out? You know, is it something that it's definitely out of our control? We know that, but is it in our control? So yesterday obviously was a big day. Lots of things are trending today based on yesterday's news cycle, based on the very quick 7-hour impeachment vote that came down in record time. And I started joking about you cannot even get a prime package that quick. And ironically, one of the newscasters that I happen to listen to as the hearings were going on said the exact same thing. So I'm like, I'm on the same wavelength as, you know, a national reporter. And I thought that was pretty cool. What I learned yesterday was, you know, and I watched, a lot of people will say, oh, how could you watch, you know, Congress, what they're doing? And I think that's one thing that we pride ourselves upon. When we ask for opposing opinions and have guest speakers with opposing opinions, we want to make sure that we are authentically in tune with what's actually going on, even if we're absorbing it and saying, okay, my opinion and or what I got out of it was this, but at least we're informed. It's really important to be informed even when it's not what you want to hear. It's good to be informed, cringing, listening to different speakers say everything that goes against the grain of who you are or who you think you are as a citizen in your own country, but you still have to be informed. So what was trending from that was the speed of, you know, we don't get the speed of the bandwidth, but we get the speed in Congress that in 7 hours record time did not go the normal procedures that they normally do and just whizzed right through it, right to a vote, which means that President Trump is the only president in our 250-year plus whatever we are at this point history that has been impeached twice in rapid time, twice in the same presidency. And kind of off of what we chatted about yesterday, get you wonder what they are so nervous about, that they needed to do this because they knew the end result would be that he's not, you know, it's not going to go to Congress. They're not going to have this big trial. And in fact, you know, a lot of people were chatting about that. So again, I did, oh, see, my service again is just disrupted again on my phone. That's another thing that's been going on. But I did my due diligence to find out exactly what occurs. What occurs when you impeach a president that only has 6 days left in office? You know, what does that mean? What are they trying to do? A lot of people are assuming it has to do with him ever running again. They also are looking to, because if it was to go through, he would lose a lot of the things that most post-presidents receive, like security detail, you know, all the things that go with that. But what I found out, and I'm just going to read this real quick, and then I'm going to hand it back over to you, is normally, I think the average I said, which they average, impeachment now, again, when you overuse something, it loses its credibility and the importance of what it's supposed to be. And we chatted about that yesterday. But think about this, that after he's already out of office, they really can't. He's not an incumbent president. He's an outgoing president. So there's a whole list of, and I'm going to post that probably on Two Sisters, a list of that, because actually I'm reading it. It's going to be too long and I don't want to take up everyone's time. But there is a method to the madness of why they did it. even knowing that they're not going to get anywhere with it. So that leads you to only think of, why bother? Why, he's already leaving office. Why would you do that? So I'm going to put that back to you. And then I want to share a great idea that I have for Two Sisters with our audience, because that's going to be trending. Go ahead.
Well, that's a loaded question or comment. And well, I could just fill this whole podcast up with how I feel about it. But what I will say, know the truth. Now, I don't care if you're independent, Democratic, Republican, or liberal. I don't care what party affiliation you are. Know the truth, search for the truth. And sometimes it takes an opportunity to open yourself up to be open to what is happening around us. And I guess
what would you suggest, because we're gonna, we know we're on early and we want to value everyone's time. What would you suggest for people that really are struggling because they're trying to, put their best foot forward, trying to be positive? We already know, we talk all the time about our surroundings impact our health and wellness. And a lot of people are feeling that anxiety. We always talk about, when you're feeling that, do some exercises. But you could still do those exercises and you're done, and you're still back to that, entanglement within yourself. So what would you suggest to our audience and our listeners on something about, because I always talk about mindset, but I would be curious to hear from your perspective, mindset.
Mindset can be, obviously we know, a very tricky thing. And the key with mindset is to recognize where you are with those feelings. Obviously, when people post, there's a lot of emotion involved, and we've talked about the keyboard issue that I have personally had. So one thing that I strongly recommend is, even after you've implemented different strategies that that work for you, even if you've tried something new and you feel that it has not worked for you, soothing the soul is really important. It's important, even if you just, through all this chaos, if you sat down for 10 minutes and focused on your breathing and listened to some soothing music, that in itself is a great therapeutic process to put your chaotic mind at rest. Because I find myself sometimes throughout the day, and I use all my different techniques, and excuse me, sometimes that throws me off balance. Sometimes it works. A lot of times it doesn't work, especially when you're going through a physical thing like I am with my foot. It's really important to pause for reflection no matter what you do. So the biggest tip that I can give you is, when all else fails, when you have tried everything you believe within your power, pause for reflection, sit for 10 minutes, soothing music, focus on your breathing. It's a way to cleanse your thoughts, to kind of, I don't want to say medically, but physiologically reset your body. Now think of, and here's the way I describe it. Sometimes when I first get into bed at night, you just find yourself, you're tensing up. And you realize, I'm tensing up my shoulder. So you kind of relax the muscles. You have to physically think here to move this, right? Sometimes it naturally occurs. Sometimes it doesn't. And that's why kind of resetting your muscles, resetting your mind really gives you the power to change how you feel. And speaking of stress and resets and whatnot, I'm going to segue over a little bit. Excuse me. We have some amazing podcast guests for next week who are going to chat about these type of problems that many people are facing. And our first guest, Stacy Boyer, who's going to be on next Friday, January 22nd. And actually on Wednesday, the 20th, Alexi Bracy. And we're so excited to have these guests come online to help us navigate through all of that. I mean, we're so thankful that we have an audience that is engaging and is, willing to open up their hearts and their minds. And we love sharing, obviously, what we are passionate about. So yeah, my biggest tip, hit that reset button, pause for reflection, really focus on that breathing.
Absolutely. And I love the two topics that are coming up. The thing that I was actually going to chat about, I'm going to hold on that because I want to just do a couple, I just got a couple different alerts on some things that I'm kind of trying to tweak. So I'm not going to give away what we're talking about. That is going to be safe for a later day. But I do love these two speakers coming on because we really try to bring things that are going to impact you. And you hear it from our perspective, you hear it from our journey, you hear it from what we know, that different scenarios of what works and what doesn't work, but it's also good to get a fresh look on that. And two topics that have really come into play are two segments of our population. The first one is going to be actually talking about dementia and the signs of it, but also, the how-tos of navigating through that and also finding out. The other guest speaker is going to be speaking about, I call it the one of the hidden citizen subjects that, is kind of one of those things that's difficult to talk about, anxiety, depression, recovery, and how that population, that segment of population in our country, really in the world, has really, really also suffered during this last calendar year from 2020 to 2021. Both sides suffer ongoing, but it was really amplified over these past 12 months. So we're so excited to bring them to you to hear their insight and what their message and how it's going to impact you. But with that, let us know what is trending, what's going on in your world. How are you being the trendsetter and not being the follower? That's a cool thing. Be the trendsetter, not the follower. With that, this is Carol Sue, AKA Naughty Boss, Canna Lady, live from Vero Beach with two
Sisters, and good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Janis, aka Wellness Diva, also known as the Deadline Diva. I kind of like that. Reporting to you live from a doom and gloom kind of look in North Haven, Connecticut on the Circle. We value your time and appreciate you, and always, always we appreciate and respect opposing viewpoints. If you have something, hey, if you would like to join us live on air and be an on-air live guest, we would love to have you. Thank you so much and have a great day. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Fantabulous.